Hello, hello, and welcome to a live edition of the Kipper stream. Today we'll be going over Theresa May's treacherous deal and whether it'll pass or not. I'm joined today by Mr. Sam Huntley in the sunglasses. Say hello.
Evening.
And I'm joined by the English gentleman, which is Michael Palmer, who seems to represent himself with a parrot today.
Hello and good afternoon. And yes, my parrot is currently sat right next to me in real life as well.
Fantastic. So I see you've got it going live on BBC, Michael. What's the latest?
Oh, I've just had to turn it down a bit. But so far, Corbyn has had his speech, doing the usual slamming May and useless government and overthrow this and overthrow that. Same usual stuff you'd expect from Corbyn. And May has come out with the nice 2-week-old rhetoric, or however long it's been, of like, take this deal or you're probably not going to get Brexit, which is astounding considering she said over 100 times that we should be leaving today. So I don't really take her on her word anymore.
Right, okay. So from my understanding, if the deal gets accepted, then Article 50 gets extended to May 22nd. Which happens to be my birthday. Or if not, it's going to be extended until the 14th of April. No, 12th of April.
12th.
Yeah. 12th, yeah, 12th of April. So obviously we want this thing to get rejected today because obviously it's a treacherous deal which keeps us locked into the customs union. So we basically have to collect tariffs for other countries, which is total bullshit.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we're hoping for a rejection today. I hear a lot of Labour people are coming out as saying they're going to reject the vote, so that's a good sign.
Yeah, pretty expected. And despite hearing some rumours that more Tories will vote for it, I certainly haven't been hearing a whole lot of support for it on BBC Parliament. It seems most of them are pretty against it. And it's nice to hear that some Tories are actually coming out pro-democracy, pro-Brexit for once, which is nice.
Yeah, there are a few good Tories out there, believe it or not. My favourite is probably Bill Cash. Do you know Bill Cash?
Yes, I love Bill Cash. He's now my favourite Tory because Jacob Rees-Mogg and Boris Johnson have sold out, so it's now him.
Yeah. But we've had a lot of key Brexiteers. They're going to support this stupid vote. Even Jacob Rees-Mogg, right?
Yep. Oh, who's that?
Oh, sorry, that's me. I'm just getting Parliament up so I can see the latest.
Yeah, I don't think Parliament does subtitles for like deaf people. Deaf people. I'm not sure if they do it for that. I can't be bothered to go through things. But we can expect the usual sort of thing. Theresa May will defend it with the same old rhetoric, and everybody will say either give us the people's vote or just give us Brexit no deal. It's to be one or the other. So what happens if
it gets rejected then? What are we left with now?
To my knowledge, if it gets rejected, at least as far as the EU is concerned, and for once I'm actually liking what I'm hearing out of the EU, is you better get your butts ready for no deal because they're sick and tired of having to keep dealing with Theresa May coming back and trying to get concessions, which they're not going to give and they have no interest in giving. And to be perfectly honest, I don't blame them. So from their point of view, it's no deal and accept it. Obviously, from Theresa May's position, it's going to be, hell no, I want to be a fool, so I'm just going to keep pushing it anyway. The next, I think it's not actually 2 weeks, it's 10 days from what somebody said in Parliament. So the next 10 days will be interesting because apparently they're going to try for more indicative votes. So that'll be another set of completely pointless votes that will achieve nothing, ideally. And I have no idea what Theresa May's going to do. Ideally, I'd just like her to accept defeat and just be like, look, we're going to prepare for no deal and just get on with it. Because at this point, she can't seriously expect to go to the EU with a fourth attempt. It's just ridiculous. I mean, it's ridiculous for a third attempt. It's even more ridiculous to go for a fourth.
Yeah, well, you know, third time lucky, fourth time even more lucky, maybe.
I think it's probably going to end up being 265th time lucky.
Purgatory hell.
Oh, Theresa May's speaking now. Let's sit. Tell me if this sounds crap. I'll try and play it out loud.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, it's not playing.
Do you want me to turn the sound on? You might be able to hear it.
No, hang on. I've got it.
It is
There we
about
go.
our national interest. As
There.
I say, everybody will have to. I'll give way one last time. I'll give way to the Honourable Lady.
Thank the Prime Minister for giving way. The Prime Minister said this is about the country. But with respect, Prime Minister, that is not how it's seen. Brexit, withdrawal agreement, referendum has always been about the Conservative Party.
Suck it, Theresa May.
Theresa the Appeaser.
See what she says.
I just call it Traitor May at this point.
Parties voted for a referendum. This House.
What the?
Order!
I'm so sorry. I forget to call the Scottish National Party always had a different view on this because they want to stay in the EU, they want to stay in the Common Agricultural Policy, they want to stay in the Common
She's
Fisheries.
trying to sound hard now.
No good for Scottish fishermen and Scottish farmers.
Oh, you told them.
Annoyingly, she's right.
I just referenced the SNP.
Yeah, I mean, like, the SNP are always an easy slam dunk, but you can just tell in her voice that she is struggling. Even for an easy slam dunk against the SNP, she is struggling.
She is sounding like a strangled rat right now.
Yeah.
This is her. You can tell she's on her last breath as being Prime Minister, really. She knows it's coming to an end.
She's already conceded that, like, if she's willing to resign to just get her deal to pass, which I was telling one of my American friends the other day about, like, I told him that, and he was just like, what the hell kind of negotiating position is that? It's like, I'll resign if you accept my deal. What? It's just, the whole world looks at us, and it's just like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Okay,
it's just nobody knows what's going on.
Let's listen to her last bit of speech. Go on, let's have a bit of sympathy for her.
If you're passionate about making sure that the United Kingdom leaves the European Union, back this motion. If you care about our union and want a deal that protects it, back the motion. If you
Back
want
the
to
motion.
honour the referendum, but want Parliament to shape our future relationship, back this motion. It's the right thing for our country. It's the right thing for our constituents. And with all my heart, I commend this motion to the House.
Order!
Order! Oh wait, this is my favourite bit coming up. Division!
We're in a lobby.
Division! You gotta love UK politics.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it seems as if they're all going to the vote now. So
I've been talking to a Czech person, and he just he said that British politics is a lot more interesting than Czech politics.
Oh yeah, I don't know, how is Czech politics done? Just very
Similar to our politics. It's just more Czechy.
more Czechy. Okay.
More Czechy.
Hey, is that racist? I can't tell.
I've got no idea. They're the Czechs, so it's Czechy. Yeah.
The Czechstanis. We gotta love the Czechstanis.
Czechostan.
I should point out, in case you haven't realised from how I've posted it, we have our chief correspondent coming in later, Dr. Rhys Coombs. He's a senior fellow at the Institute of Kipper Central, and on a serious note, he is actually a super smart guy. So I'm sure he'll have some interesting things to say about this. He's coming up at 2:45, I believe.
Is he calling straight from Westminster? Well, not in Westminster, but on like in the area, essentially where all the rally is.
The answer to that is no.
Oh, okay. You said correspondent earlier. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I just thought it sounded good, to be honest. I did think about getting someone streaming from outside Parliament, but hardly anyone has internet that good, and also they're not going to know what's going to happen because they can't see what's happening in Parliament. So,
plus the audio quality would be absolutely horrendous. You'd be like asking them, like, "What's it like down?" And just just like complete static.
Well, I was actually at Parliament for one of the votes before, and the guy was trying to stream. Apparently, the internet's really terrible. Like outside Parliament, it's like impossible. But anyway,
it's probably because of all the high buildings.
Yeah,
that's what I would imagine.
And all the fucking bullshit that goes on in Parliament, streaming outside, affecting the signal.
Yeah, Parliament's so toxic that it like pollutes the air more than the actual vehicles does.
Yeah,
everyone is in London. Just whenever these things are happening, you just see everyone from London go on Twitter and start rating about it before it's even happened, which is just puts down the internet quality.
Yeah. It says here It says here the MPs are voting on the 39 billion payment, the Irish border backstop, and citizens' rights. So I guess that's all included in the deal, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
39 billion.
Well, there's an issue with there's an issue with like the legality. Like when it was first announced, like yesterday, I think it was yesterday or the day before, about like the whole procedure that they're trying to do now. Like a lot of MPs like stood up to like, that's not even legal. How can you even do that? And I don't think that ever got answered. Just to my knowledge, like I never heard anything about the government coming forward and say, yeah, this is actually legal. We can do this. So to my knowledge, I don't even know what they're doing right now. It's legal.
Because it got signed into law that we're supposed to leave on the 29th. Is that what you say?
Yeah. No, it's the fact that they're only voting on half of the withdrawal agreement. They're not voting on the full thing.
Yeah.
That's the weird thing. Like nobody knows if it's legal or not. They're like really confused, and the government's been really vague on it. So who knows? Even if the vote goes through, we don't even know if it's going to be legally binding, or the EU will just sit there and be like, "Nah, that's not the full thing. We're rejecting it." So who knows at this point?
Yeah, that's not to do with the Ruskin law thing, is it? To do with the John Bercow, what he said. Are you talking about?
Well, no,
legality?
No. What his point was, you can't bring it back unless there's been substantial changes. And I think the way that the government are trying to get around this is like, okay, well, we won't bring the whole thing. We'll just bring half of it because, I don't know, in their mind, that somehow doesn't constitute as the original proposition.
That's what I was thinking. So that's how they've got around it, is to bloody do it in halves.
Yeah, which, again, it's like, there's been confusion about whether that's even legally possible or not. And then even then, like whether the EU would actually accept it or not, because they want the full thing, not half of it. So I don't know. Well, Parrot, where do you want to go? You keep getting on my hand. It's over there? Okay. Sorry, my parrot's bugging me for a second. It was like crawling all over him. It's just like he wants to go somewhere, but I don't know where he wants to go.
He clearly wants Brexit. He's eager to.
He does. Oh, I know where he wants to go. There you go. There, stare out the window. There you
go. Anyway, Sam, you haven't spoken that much, so say something.
Say something interesting. I've been reading the live comments to this. It's quite entertaining.
On what?
The actual stream.
Oh, our stream. Jesus, are people actually watching this?
Yes, when we started up, it said 5 were waiting.
Oh, okay. I'm surprised. I did post it in Liberalist as well as YI Hub, which I don't normally do. I normally just restrict it to YI Hub. But I don't know. Maybe we got a few from there. Or
Yeah, perhaps.
So what,
Read
what
us
are the
out
comments
the.
then, Sam?
Wait, what was that?
I think he's
Read
speaking
out some
parrot.
comments.
Ignore him.
Read out some comments. Yo, Sam, it's Marcus. Unleash Pingu.
Why Pingu?
Me and Cameron have a running joke to do a Pingu. Yeah, to do a Pingu.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
We got a guy who likes penguins and a guy who likes parrots. I can tell you,
Birds are in season.
I have no bird paraphernalia in my room. But I do have this lovely, nice hat which says "Make Britain Great Again." So
I love that hat. I want that hat.
I don't have much stuff in here. Should I put on a Spurs hat just to see how many people I can anger in the comments?
oh well, it'll be me included in that because I'm a Chelsea fan.
At least it's not Arsenal.
Yeah, to be fair, Arsenal are my most hated supporters. They're just the worst people. I don't care if you're watching now. Fuck you. I don't care. You're a wanker.
I was eating and I just popped out food.
But I guarantee you, most Arsenal supporters support Labour. Guarantee it.
I mean, the colours match.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Okay, so I'm just seeing what's happening here. I think they're still voting. I think it's still going to take a while. How long does it normally take? It's normally like 5 minutes. Isn't it?
It usually take about 10 minutes or so. I think they said it's expected at 2:45. 2:40. There it is.
You're just making this up.
I think it mainly depends on how many people abstain and how many people actually vote.
Oh, that's a good point. I mean, is this a free vote for all the parties, or are they being whipped?
They're being whipped because I'm pretty sure all of Labour is supposed to be voting against it, and I know all of the DUP will be voting against it.
Okay.
I would imagine the government would whip the backbenchers, but it's pretty clear that they're not going to care.
So that means we're going to get some resignations as well, then, because people are.
It would not surprise me.
Yeah. I wonder who's
hopefully Theresa May will be one of them.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice?
It certainly would. I tell you what,
sorry, I just want to say, it's weird that she'll resign if a deal goes through, but she'll stay if it fails. Like, what kind of logic is that?
Yeah.
It's British logic.
To be fair, though, this has actually worked out pretty damn well if you look at the overall big picture, in that if we had Andrea Leadsom or someone who was actually a Brexiteer, I'm telling you, they would not have gone for no deal. I know that sounds weird, but they would not have gone for no deal, even though they're Brexiteers. And you would probably have ended up with a softer Brexit, whilst this case, we could end up with a no deal, which is even better. But then on the flip side, it could go totally tits up and we could end up with an even softer Brexit. But there's actually more chance of a no deal with this than if we had an Andrea Leadsom or someone else as Conservative leader.
I mean, maybe. I mean, she's been a pretty strong Brexiteer from the get-go. So
they all say that in the Conservative Party. Oh yeah, even Jacob Rees-Mogg. Yeah, I'm a strong Brexiteer and all that. And what do? They end up supporting May's stupid deal and all the rest of it. So.
Well, yeah, but we're talking hypothetically if they were running the show like from the start. Like if it was Andrea Leadsom running the show from the start, I don't know what her negotiating skills are like, but since she's a Brexiteer, it would ideally be better than whatever Theresa May's given us.
Oh, it'd be better than Theresa May, but I'm telling you,
the actual deal that she'd give us would be better than Theresa May's. However, what we want isn't a deal. What we want is a no deal.
Yes.
Which is why having one who completely messes it up is better than having one who wouldn't.
Yeah, it's basically like a gamble.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
It's basically like a gamble. It could, it's high stakes here. We could get like an amazing result, or we could get a really shit result.
Yeah. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Like somebody who's so utterly incompetent and useless that she actually gives us what we want.
Yeah, because it's
the state of British politics.
It's actually amazing how it's happened though, because Theresa May had a Conservative majority. She went for a general election. She lost that majority, having to go in coalition with the DUP. So they're essentially being held hostage to an extent by the DUP.
By the ghost of Ian Paisley.
By the ghost of Ian Paisley, which is the most right-wing country in the party, which never would be able to have a proper say if it wasn't for this bizarre scenario where the Conservatives have to be not in coalition, but have to work with them. And the DUP,
God bless the DUP.
The DUP are what the Conservative Party should be, proper Conservatives.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
because I find it really funny when like Anna Soubry says like, "Oh, the party is too right wing." It's just like there's literally no not even close to right wing party in Parliament. Like the Conservatives, if anything, they're just like the centre, and they're like, or they're more like left leaning centre. Where the Labour Party is like way far left.
There's so many examples. It's tough to like think off the top of your head, but like they're always bringing around like, well, gender fairness crap and all that sort of tripe. Where apparently they always moan about everything's sexist, everything's racist. Like I'm trying to think what laws they've brought in, but they always do stupid stuff like that. I'm sure they did women selections for their MPs as well at some point. So basically discriminating against men.
Yeah. Well, I know they're I don't know if it's specifically the Labour Party, but I think they're all like obsessed with having a 50-50 parliament, which I mean that's a nice like in an ideal world, yeah, sure, that sounds nice, but knowing how the arithmetic and how people work, it means you're probably going to get out of all of that, you're going to have maybe 60% are actually good MPs, and the other 40% are just diversity quotas, which will be utterly useless and just not have a clue what they're doing. They're only in there because of their genitalia or the colour of their skin or whatever crap it is.
I mean, that's how Theresa.
No, I'm sorry. I want to live in a meritocracy, not a bloody diversity quota utopia or whatever the hell it is.
I mean, that's how Theresa May partly got her job, isn't it? David Cameron, when she was chosen, was like, "We've got another woman leader. Aren't we so progressive?" You know.
Yeah.
The biggest thing which pisses me off big time about the Conservatives is their immigration policy, because the latest immigration figures, people coming into the country last year, was over 600,000 people in 1 year. Like, we used to have immigration figures below 50,000 before 97.
I think the results coming in.
Is it? Okay, let's see what's happening.
Yeah, it's coming in.
Are you watching BBC Parliament?
I'm like a few seconds ahead of you.
Okay, yeah. Well, tell us as soon as you find out.
Yeah, once it pops up on the screen. Oh, God.
On mine, it's showing some random Conservative MP talking right now, so I'm not sure what's quite going on.
All right, let's see. What is it?
Let me see.
Come on, give me the numbers.
Okay, I'm watching it as well.
It hasn't popped up yet.
You do that as I get in touch with our chief correspondent, Mr. Reese Coombs.
Fuck!
What?
It got through.
Fuck off!
You know what? Shit! Oh wait, hang on. No. Sorry, I misread that. It's a no. It's
Michael, no. For God's sake!
I missed the number wrong. It's a no. Fucking hell, my art.
It's the eyes to the right, the nose
right.
to the left, you twat.
Okay.
Yeah, I know. I looked at 204 and I thought it was like also 200 against, and it was like, but no, it's like 300 against.
So, but it's been defeated.
Yeah, it was like 284 or 86 in favour and 344 against, or something along those lines. So I probably got a thing pop up on my phone.
Can you repeat that again?
Saying what the results are. All right, it should. They haven't brought it back up on the screen, but it was like 286 in favour and 344 against. I might have the numbers slightly wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's what it was.
All I heard was the 286 part.
Oh, there
200.
it is. All right, hang on. The numbers coming up now.
Exclusive.
Right, it was 286 in favour and 344 against.
Okay, so that's quite a resounding vote against it.
Yeah. It wasn't a high, it was a majority of 58, which, considering her previous attempts, is actually quite slim, because the last time she lost, it was by like 150.
Right, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But still, she lost it. Thank God.
Yeah. What am I doing? Yeah, let's celebrate. Woo!
Good news.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to play with your emotions. My brain messed up.
This is clearly a result of Tommy Robinson. Otherwise, this would not have happened.
Yeah.
I look forward to watching the Brexit rally highlights later on when it pops up.
Yeah. Oh, no wonder I'm getting a bad feed. My feed's coming in from 20 minutes ago, for God's sake.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so, yeah, I've got it all here. 286 approve, 344 reject. So that's government defeated by 58 votes. So that's good. I think Corbyn's doing a speech now, actually. Should we chime in quickly?
Oh, no.
I say to all members, Mr. Speaker, the responsibility to find a majority for a better deal for all the people of this country. Mr. Speaker, the House has been clear. This deal now has to change. There has to be an alternative found. And if the Prime Minister can't accept that, then she must go, not at an indeterminate date in the future, but now, so that we can decide the future of this country through a general election.
Yeah. I'm not going to listen to that Scottish.
No, I don't want to listen to that podgy Scottish nonsense.
Podgy Scottish fried Mars bar eating tosser.
Yeah. God. Every single one of the SNPs gets on my nerves.
It's a shame we don't have the Northerners or the Scots in this stream, because they always have good insulting words.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they're great.
Look,
Southerners are just
you just
boring.
pretend to be a Northerner.
What?
No, I love Southerners. Southerners are the best, but we got to hand it to the Northerners. They do have a colourful use of language.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I have a colourful use of language.
So what does all this all mean? This is we need our chief correspondent here, don't we, to tell us what this all means. Let me see if I can get in touch with him. He doesn't seem to be answering on Facebook. Shall I just call him live now, like from his phone? Yeah. Okay. Exclusive, live on the Kipper stream. Calling Reese Coombs. This is the best stream ever.
Yeah,
You're going to put him
it's
on
almost
speakerphone?
as good as
I'll put him on speakerphone, yeah. Okay. Live, dialing, Reese Coombs. He doesn't seem to be answering. Oh, he's not available. Shall we leave him an answer phone message?
Get on, you wanker.
Reese Coombs, we were hoping to get you on the Kipper stream today. Unfortunately, you don't seem to be here because you're too busy doing a jigsaw or something. Don't know what you do down in Bristol or wherever you're from. Weston-super-Mare, that's right. So yeah, just a quick message from the lads here. What do you have to say?
You're
Get on,
lazy
you
git.
wanker.
Yeah, there you go. Resounding disapproval there. Get yourself on the Kipper stream now. We need you. See you later. I'm sure he'll appreciate that.
Totally be an entertaining voicemail.
Are we losing viewers now? I feel like that's going to cause a
Yeah, now the results come through.
We've gained 1 view since I last checked.
We got 1 view.
No, we've gained 1 view since I last checked.
We've gained 1 view. Okay.
Into my one, it says 5 watching now.
Okay, quick. Say something entertaining before we lose our remaining viewers.
No.
Yeah, I concur. No.
Okay, well, let's have a look at the BBC article then. Let's rip off the BBC, because that's what we do here on the Kipper stream.
I think they've just got breaking news in them. I don't know if they've written anything more yet.
Okay, so it says here, blah, 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 reject the deal. Mrs. May said the vote would have grave consequences, and the legal default was that the UK would leave on the 12th of April. So we're up to the 12th of April now. That meant that meant there would not be enough time to get the necessary legislation through to avoid a no-deal Brexit, she said. She's obviously no, don't get your hopes up, because we obviously know Theresa May is a complete liar. Just like she said she wouldn't hold a general election, and she did. So I know,
but now now she's back in a position where she's acknowledging that no deal could actually happen instead of being like no deal's going to happen and then like yeah, no deal's not going to happen, and now she's back to saying no deal's probably going to happen. So as far as I'm concerned, that's an improvement.
What? So you think they could actually not have enough time to push the legislation through?
I mean, if she's finally admitting it, and with 10 days to go, I mean, I don't know what they could push through. I mean, Parliament's already shown itself to be completely inept at agreeing on anything, despite claiming that they know what the correct thing to do is. I mean, there's really, once again, we're in a position where no deal is the only option, and because none of the indicative votes got a majority, so they weren't legally binding anyway, so they were all completely pointless. And withdrawal agreement has once again been shut down, thank God. So, I mean, we're back to where we should have been today. I mean, I don't understand why she just doesn't be like, okay, no, you don't want anything. We're back to no deal again. It is the 29th. Should we just fuck off now? Just like go. It is the right day.
Yeah, well, that statement, I don't know if she said that before the vote or after. I'm guessing it was before, so she could scare people into going, oh, crap, we better bloody vote for this deal, or we're not going to get Brexit or some crap.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe it is possible that 12th of April, that's too quick for them to do proper legislation, considering they'd had the indicative votes. Was it the day before yesterday where they voted on a series of alternatives and none of them got passed? So if they're going to do something, they need to scramble together really fast, don't they?
Well, this is the really bizarre thing. It's like, oh, we might not have enough time to get. It's like they've already said they've been planning for no deal for ages, the same as the EU has. They said they're ready. Like, there's been plenty of ministers been saying we're ready for WTO, and there's clearly enough time for MPs to scrounge together bullshit amendments and all that kind of crap. So they clearly can get the job done. So I don't understand this whole argument. It's like, oh, there's not going to be enough time for legislation. It's like, you got 10 days. That's if you just pull your finger out your ass, you can get it done. All right, stop fanning around.
But the thing is, we've only seen indicative votes or motions, which mean absolutely crap all in terms of actual law. So actually implementing a law, we haven't actually yet to see that. Is it just the case where the government just goes, right, okay, we're going to do that? Or does it have to like go through a longer procedure? I know what you mean. I don't quite get why that she says it'll be too soon to push through legislation. I don't know if they're just telling porkies there, or if there is actually something to that.
I think it's. I mean, yeah, it does take time to like go through the whole procedure and get legislation done. But I mean, you got to think about it. Like Theresa May came back with the agreement with the EU. It's either the 12th of April or the 22nd of May. I can't see why she would come back with the option of the 12th of April if then she knew that it wasn't going to be able to be possible. Like she can't. I know she's completely useless and incompetent, but she has to have some degree of capability.
No, but you know,
something.
You do know that she wanted to have 22nd of May. Wait.
Oh yeah.
No, she actually wanted like June 30th or something stupid, didn't she? But because the EU said, "Oh no, that's way too late. We'll give you the 22nd." Actually, why is it the 14th of April? The 14th of April. 12th. Why is it the 12th of April? I don't.
That was it for. It's because that's the last day in which. I can see the. Sorry, the BBC just brought up the Brexit rally march on the screen. There, I can see the Tommy Robinson big 50 whatever it is meter TV, and they're showing that off. Anyway, sorry.
Tommy.
Yes.
Tommy. But yes, okay. So the 12th of April, it's the last day. I don't know if it's specifically before the EU elections, but that's the last day of which Britain can decide if it's going to run in the EU elections or not. That's why that date was set. Whereas the 22nd of May would have been come back after the European elections. Because if it was agreed, then there's no point for Parliament or anybody to send MEPs for elections because we're not going to be needed. The agreement's set, there's no point doing it. But because that wasn't agreed, the EU allowed, I mean, let's face it, that is what happened, allowed Theresa May to have the option of like, look, if it gets rejected, you have up until this point to make up your minds. And like, are you going to go into the EU elections? And if you are, this is the cutoff point. Like, this is like, you have to have your decision made by then. If you haven't had your decision made, it's no deal. That's our position, end of. If you are going to do it, just tell us before this date. That's essentially what the purpose of the 12th of April is.
So, if they want us in the European elections, then they're going to have to do it before the 12th of April.
Yeah, Parliament and government or whoever it is, they got to make their mind up before then. And I don't know if because like of all the options available, I don't think there's any interest in Parliament to do European elections. Like, they're interested in many other things, but I don't think that's one of the things MPs actually care about wanting to do. Because I think they know that'll be political suicide for their constituencies if they have to commit to that. And I don't know if they're ready to go that far.
Right. But if they do that, I mean, it's already completely taken the piss that they've extended it already. If they put us in European elections... I've been collecting signatures for UKIP for the local elections, and I'm getting people saying, "This is the end of democracy." This like, what are they doing? This, imagine if they do that, they're really going to think it's the end of democracy.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's just going to be like the major. The thing is, I think one of the other reasons why the MPs don't want to do it is because they know that they're going to get the tiniest amount of MEPs put in. Because people are going to be so pissed off, they're just going to have a massive protest vote. And it's going to be, I'd say nearly 50-50 UKIP and the Brexit Party. And that's going to be the vast majority of the British MEPs going in. As well as that, the EU are also going to be cringing their assholes, knowing that they're about to get a Eurosceptic surge of MEPs about to come into their nice little house and ruin it for them.
Yeah.
So it's such a mess.
In fact, that's interesting.
It's like the EU at this point really don't want to deal with this anymore. That's why most of what's coming out of their mouth, aside from Guy Verhofstadt, who's just bad shit insane, everybody, all the other prominent EU spokespersons are all saying, look, just get ready for no deal, because at this point, that's what we want. we're sick and tired of dealing with you. Just bugger off. And it's just the British public just desperately want Parliament to acknowledge this message from the EU, because they clearly love the EU so much they'll do anything they tell them. Just bloody accept the no deal, please.
So the last European elections were in 2014, which I believe that was before the migrant crisis, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think so.
So things have really hotted up.
Yes.
Things have really hotted up since then. Not least, the migrant crisis, Greece, everything. So they should get a really strong Eurosceptic vote going for the election for sure.
Oh yeah, they're gonna get. It's going to be a nightmare for the European Union once those elections are complete, because they're going to have a bunch of Eurosceptic MEPs in there just not abstaining, but they're going to veto as many things as they can just to piss them off and to try and force their own agendas through, which I don't know how many of them would be pro getting out of the EU, but I think most of them would be trying to arm string, or whatever the term is, tying their hand around their back sort of thing, or strong arm them, into giving their nations preferable treatment, so giving them better deals within the EU. Because I think, despite all the Eurosceptic feelings in Europe, I don't think there's actually that many nations that are willing to go full Brexit. I think there's only maybe 2 that are committed to wanting to do that, which I think is potentially Italy and Hungary. Whereas the other ones are kind of like, they don't like the EU, but I don't know if they're ready to leave yet.
Yeah, especially countries like Greece or people like that. Even Hungary, they do really dislike the EU in a lot of ways, but they are actually not that keen to leave, especially since they do get quite a bit of money from the EU as well.
Yeah, that's the big thing keeping the Eurosceptic ones in, is that they're unlike Britain, which when we did have competent MPs in Parliament, they were able to get us at least a good deal where we're not completely tied into Europe. All the other European nations are fully tied in, so them trying to get out is going to be more painful to them than it would be for us, because we were kind of, I don't know, maybe half or 3/4 of the way in the EU, whereas we're at least have some degree of autonomy left.
Yeah, well, we have our currency for starters, don't we? There's not a lot of European countries which still have their currency left, especially inside the EU. Romania's one. Apparently, one of the laws is that if you're a member after a certain date, you have to adopt the euro, and they are not going to be happy about having to adopt the euro whatsoever. Countries like Romania, Bulgaria, I think maybe. Denmark, I think they don't have to adopt it because they were early enough. But yeah. Anyway, things are
even Sweden, which is very is a very capped nation, doesn't have the EU.
It doesn't have the euro.
Yes.
No, they still have the Swedish krona.
They have the Kronenberg still.
Good God. It's a shame Sweden is a lost nation at this point. It's like New Zealand has gone ever since the shooting, it's gone full to Sweden now. It went from a liberal nation to straight up fascist in the space of a week. It's just ridiculous.
Oh, sorry, I was distracted then. You're talking about Sweden.
I was just saying that New Zealand has basically cucked itself to the point of being the next Sweden in the space of a week since the mosque shooting, and that whereas every other nation, when it's attacked by terrorists, says this isn't going to change us and we're going to resist it. No, as New Zealand apparently is just oh shit, we need to appease the Islamists.
Yeah, we all have to wear hijabs now and face to Mecca.
Yeah,
what a bunch of losers.
New Zealand. New Zealand is a perfect example of how not to react after suffering a terrorist incident. It's like does the complete opposite of what every other nation does.
Well, to be fair, we would have done exactly the same, I'm sure. So we're pretty cucked as well. I have, especially now we even have the cuck party.
Oh yes, the independent group has become the cuck.
The independent group, that's right. They've registered themselves as the cuck party.
What have they done now?
They've changed their name. Okay, officially they've changed it to Change UK. Acronym cuck.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's brilliant. The legitimate cuck party. Oh, that's made my day, that is.
Oh, wait, hang on.
That means we have to stop calling them Tiggers now.
I need to report something live. We have our chief correspondent, Reese Coombs, has just joined us.
Glad to be here.
Reese Coombs, I see you're out on the field somewhere. Tell us your thoughts on this deal.
Well, I've not actually seen the news yet, but I hear it's been rejected by, was it 58, a majority of 58?
Yeah, the government was defeated by 58. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that the deal's disgraceful. Obviously, what we voted for was for Britain to leave the EU and become an independent nation. Those are two things. You can leave the EU in name only, but that doesn't necessarily make you an independent nation. What we voted for was full independence. What Theresa May's deal gives us is we become a secondary subsidiary state of the EU. We're not technically a member, but we're essentially a part of everything that goes on. What we voted for is independence, and thankfully the deal's been rejected, which means we're partially on the way to getting that. But unless we have no deal at this point, there's nothing left on the table that actually gives us what we voted for.
Yeah, from what I understand, it totally locks us into the customs union. So we essentially have to take other countries' tariffs on behalf of them or some crap like that.
Yeah, essentially the customs union is the idea that everyone in Europe is part of a single international market. So when somebody looks at America, they go, right, I want to trade with America. And you have a set of rules and regulations and customs that you have to follow if you're trading with America. At the moment, you can't do that if you're trading with Britain. You can't go to Britain and go, right, so Britain has these standards, so I need to make my products follow these laws. No, you have to look at Europe and go, Europe has these standards because of the EU. So, for example, let's look at cattle. America, a long time ago, stopped Germany from selling beef to America because they believed their beef was unhealthy, had bad standards, whatever. That was the rules, right? And that stood for a long time, and that was understood to be the international law. However, when Britain joined the EU and when Germany joined the EU, America had to change its law so that nobody in Europe could sell beef to America because they didn't want German beef, and they couldn't block just German beef. And that's the problem with the customs union. It ties everyone with the same brush.
Right. Oh, Parrot Man, can you keep it down, please? Okay, we'll push on. Okay, so what does this mean, Reese? What does this mean, Reese, with this deal getting rejected? Are they going to come back to us and try for a fourth time, or is this game over now?
Well, basically, the way I see it, and the way I've seen it for the last few weeks, really, is there's loads of options on the table, but feasibly none of them are going to be accepted because Theresa May's deal doesn't have the support of the House. Labour's proposal doesn't have the support of the House. Single market customs union doesn't have support of the House, right? So there's two things that can happen. There's two almost default options that if nothing gets support, one of these two must happen, and that is a no deal or remaining in the EU. Those are the two extremes because depending on how you look at it, the default with Article 50 is if we don't agree a deal, we leave with no deal. The default of EU membership is if we don't agree a deal, we leave with EU membership. So in law, currently, we should be leaving with no deal, but of course Parliament have rejected leaving with no deal. So it's a difficult situation, but I think whichever way it happens, I think we're going to either remain a full EU member as we are, or leave with no deal. I don't see anything in between happening anymore. And
they're not going to extend it?
Oh yeah, they will extend it. They'll extend it probably by a year, but within that year, nothing more is going to be agreed. No other deal is going to be agreed to. So they're either going to end up leaving with no deal or staying as a member. I can't see how anything in between could actually happen now because they've tied themselves into this.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Well, I was reading the BBC and it says that.
That's never a good start.
Yeah, but they tend to get the quotes direct from the people if they don't do everything else right. And basically, I think it was Theresa May was saying that there isn't enough time to get the legislation through to be able to implement a different deal. Do you think that's right?
Well, that depends what leave date we're using. If we're leaving in, well, a handful of hours, then that's probably not going to happen, as we should have been. If
No,
we're
but
leaving on,
it'll be the 12th of April now, won't it? Because of
but yeah, I mean, there is a deal that we can get through that follows through on the referendum. That means that we follow back we fall onto international law precedent that we know works because almost every country in the world uses it. That secures us nearly free trade with every country in the world, including the EU, and that's called the World Trade Organization Brexit, otherwise known as No Deal Brexit. And that requires very little agreement because we're already a part of it. We just have to say, okay, we're going to revert back to that now. You know, it's nonsense. We have to have time for a deal. No, if we can get a free trade deal with no strings attached, great, let's do it. If we can't do that in the time, leave with no deal. We don't need to fuss about with anything more. No deal works.
So are our leaders incompetent enough to fumble it up so much that we're lucky enough to get a no deal?
I wish that were true, but the problem is in the House of Commons, it's give or take a bit. It's roughly 450 for Remain, 150 for Leave in terms of how they voted in the referendum, right? So you would have to take at least, at the very minimum, about half of the Remainers in there to change their mind and support a no deal. I don't see that happening. I just don't see it happening. So, however, what I can see happening is around about half of the Remainers continuing to support Remain, regardless of what the Leavers want, regardless of what just under half of the Remainers want. If Labour, you know, all of the little parties like the Greens, the Lib Dems, whatnot, and a handful of Tories support remaining, we will remain in the EU. Now, Labour have already said it's their official position to stop Brexit, right? We know the Greens have wanted that. We know the Lib Dems want that. It's pretty obvious that all of the other small parties want that. So all it takes is a handful of Tories plus the independent group, and Brexit stopped.
Okay, you're crushing my dreams right now, Reese.
What we've got to do is we've got to keep pushing this and show MPs, not show parties, show individual MPs that if they go against Brexit, they will lose their jobs, and we've got to show them that by whatever means we can.
Oh yeah,
and
definitely.
that means people on the streets. That means UKIP activists on the streets. That means big protests. That means social media. That means everything we can do. You know, flying a flag out your bedroom window. That makes a difference. We have got to do everything we can to show these people that they will not get away with it. And okay, at the moment, I genuinely think they might stop Brexit right now. Right?
Okay.
But that doesn't mean that after the next election, if UKIP has 50 MPs, Brexit is off the table. And we've got to think long term because right now I don't see Brexit happening at the moment.
Okay, I'm with you on your pessimism, but just entertain me for 1 second here. What happens, right? So we're extended to the 12th of April. They scramble a few motions together, the other parties, and try and put another deal together. It doesn't happen. It fails. We crash out with no deal. 12th of April. How likely is that that's going to happen?
It's not going to happen. Let's say we get to that situation. Okay, we get to the point where let's say it's the 10th of April, right? We haven't got a deal yet. Nobody's agreed a deal. Theresa May can't get her deal through. The other parties have tried to work together. They haven't produced something, or you haven't agreed to it. You know, it's not working. The EU aren't up for talking. Nothing's happening. So by default, in law, we will leave with no deal, right? That's the position we're in on 10th of April. So the parties go, right. It's very clear that none of us want to leave with no deal, other than the most Eurosceptic Tories. The vast majority of the House is against the no deal. We saw that with the vote they took the other day. So what they do is they go, right, well, the EU have said to us we can extend Article 50 by a year. Why don't we just do that? Isn't it obvious? Plus, we get the benefits of EU membership for a year, because as far as they're concerned, EU membership is a good thing. Then they extend it for a year. A year later, well, who knows where we're going to be in a year, right? But what is for certain is every single day that goes by, somebody who previously said they supported Brexit is now supporting Remain. And I'm talking about politicians, not people there, right?
So you really think they'd have the temerity to extend it by a year?
Oh, yeah.
And would we have be part of the European elections?
I imagine we would be. I imagine we would be. I think they could probably find a way to wrangle us out of them if they really didn't want us to. But they probably will. They'll probably let us have the elections because I think their end game is to keep Britain in the EU, and they would go, right, well, if we're going to have to join on a year with elections, so we might as well allow these elections, then we can join at any time.
Yeah, and surely it's unlawful if we didn't take part in the election. Surely that's illegal, even.
Yeah, but the EU don't really like rules of their own. They don't tend to follow them. They force other people to, but you see this with their financial policy. They don't tend to follow their own rules very strictly. I don't think they'd follow this one at all.
Right, okay, that's interesting. So we could be facing European elections very soon.
Yeah, I mean, UKIP is already preparing for them. We're putting candidates in place. I think the candidate list is being drawn up in the next few days, actually, and we are going full steam ahead with them. And if opinion polling is anything right, we could well be 20% or over in these polls. If we're continuing to rise at the rate we're rising, we could genuinely hit 20% again. And the difference is this time it wouldn't be just UKIP, because you've got Salvini, you've got the AfD, you've got groups all across Europe who are Eurosceptic, and quite a few of them not just Eurosceptic but anti-EU, pro-referendum, anti-Euro. They are just like UKIP all across Europe, and you are seeing people turn to them. We're looking at potentially a third of the European Parliament being populist Eurosceptic parties, and that is fantastic.
That's what we want to hear. Okay, well, I don't want to keep you too long, Rhys Coombs, because I know you're a very important man and you've got lots of important things to do.
Of course.
So yeah, I look forward to hearing you again on the future, hopefully.
Thank you very much. It was glad to be here. I was glad to be here, not it was glad to be here.
Great, and I apologise for leaving those abusive messages on your answer phone. I hope you forgive me.
Oh, good Lord. Right, okay then.
You're welcome.
I'll see you guys soon.
Okay, see you later.
Bye.
And there we go, he's disappeared. Always nice to see Rhys, he's a lovely lad, isn't he? Lovely Brexit lad. We also lost Michael as well. I don't know what happened to him. I guess he got called by his parents to do something of some variety.
Yeah.
So, well, anyway, what do you make of all this then, Sam? Do you think we're going to go into European elections?
I've got no idea. I mean, if we end up remaining, it'll be riots on the streets. If we go for a no deal, as we said, it's not going to happen. Theresa May deal has been rejected. It's just, I've got no idea what's going to happen.
Oh, I don't think anyone really has a clear idea, do that? Not even like a vague idea of what's going on here. It literally is just a mess right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's British politics at the moment.
Yeah, I have to say, though, I know Rhys Coombs is very pessimistic that we're probably going to have European elections and stuff. I'm actually slightly, I don't know if it's optimistic, but I don't think we will have European elections. I think something's going to come together quite soon, and we're either going to have like a hard Brexit or a super soft one. That is my instinct right now, if I had to put money on it. Because I don't think the Parliament knows how fed up the public is with all this crap that's going on. And I think they know that they're going to be ending the Conservative Party if they carry on this route. Of just extending it.
I think they've already stopped at actually being, well, I think they've already killed themselves with the whole Brexit thing, and the fact that they've proved that they're not the Tories that existed 50 years ago, or 100 years ago.
Yeah.
Even 150 years ago.
Well, certainly not then. I don't know what the party was like 150 years ago. Probably,
Neither do I.
Yeah. Pretty much everyone was Jacob Rees-Mogg back then. Which is how it should be. Although even saying that, even Jacob let us down today. So, but
we need more Churchills and Lloyd Georges in the world.
Exactly. Yeah. And Gerald Battens. Yeah, I was going to say something then, but it totally disappeared from my mind.
Well, undisappear it then.
Right. No, it's not going to come back. It's not going to come back. But yeah, we live in interesting times right now. So I guess we're just going to have to wait till the 12th of April then before we really see what's going to happen. Do you think they're going to extend it past the 12th of April, or
Again, no idea.
no idea? Okay, well, this was a very informative episode of the Kipper stream. As you can see, we're all none the wiser, but at least May's treacherous deal did get rejected. So we could be onto a winner. We could be onto a big loser. So we'll just have to see. So I'm going to stop broadcasting now. So thanks everyone for watching, and see you later.